Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be looking at what your spirit guides want you to know over the next 72 hours. I am very pro working with your spirit guides for this exact reason. They are very straightforward, but they also know you as an individual. They know how you process information, how you perceive the world, and where you want to go with your goals and focus and achievements. And they understand the right missing pieces of puzzle, or the things to focus on, or the things to utilize for you as an individual to get you there. So we're going to be looking at all the information and breaking it down in the reading. I also wanted to let you guys know that I posted some new Patreon videos. I'm so happy you guys are enjoying it over there. The goal of it is to become sort of like a spiritual Netflix, if you will. So I'm always like answering questions, breaking things down, and I just love what you guys send and ask and share. It's really beautiful. I just wanted to put that out there. But anyways, the 3 videos I posted over there are about the question breaking down plant souls, are the individual seeds of any, like a pine cone or something like that, or blades of grass. Are they individual souls, or is it a mass soul as a whole? Very big brain question. I loved that one. Also asking about, sometimes there's a witnessing of iridescent sort of like sparkly dots around them, and asking if that is related to fairies and so on and so forth. You'd be actually very surprised what the answer is. Love that one. And last but not least, a guided meditation to help you expand and better connect to your inner being and your non-physical form. I'm telling you right now, it's just, I personally love it. I love connecting in that kind of way, and it might help take your meditations and the way you perceive the world in a totally different way. As per usual, I also want to let you guys know that I have an intuition training course where you can better understand the world around you, how it relates to the non-physical world, travel to the spirit world, meet your own spirit guides, and bring it all together in a practical daily way. I also have a tarot training course. It's all about simplicity, getting right into reading the cards, but not losing any of the specific information and details. Now, going back to the reading, as you can see, I went crystal shopping. I got some new babies. We got group number 1, Sunstone. Group number 2, Titanium Quartz. Group number 3, Pink Amethyst. And group number 4, Howlite. I'm going to give you a moment for you to sit there with the idea and pick the crystal that you resonate with most. Now that you've picked your crystal and group, you can go down to the description where you can skip to your designated group and its marked timestamp, and let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what your spirit guides want you to know over the next 72 hours by looking at the cards. We've got the Moon card in reverse, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, the Knight of Pentacles upright, the 3 of Cups upright, the 8 of Swords in reverse, and the 7 of Pentacles upright. Okay, give me one moment to look at all the information, because we actually have 2 possible outcomes here, which is fantastic. I love when it gives all the, there's no mystery. You can be aware of, what if I do this? What would be the result of that? You get all the answers. Love that. Okay. Also, before I go into this, so if you are enjoying my tarot training course, we always look for subtext. Sometimes there's subtext in the way you're receiving the reading, and this includes for people who are reading for themselves. So over here we get a specific event happening. When this event happens, here, these 3 cards are the one potential outcome and way you could handle it. But if you don't want to handle it with these 2 cards over here, here is the other possible outcome. So when we look at the whole of everything, we can understand, okay, this person, because we talk about how you receive the information you need, and so if it pops up, it's important for a reason. Not all the time will it show, well, if you choose this, or you choose that, here are the two possible outcomes and reactions. That doesn't always pop up in a reading. So if it does, it shows that if you're the person asking the question for yourself, you're someone who needs that sort of comfort, but also you are using your brain to work out every single scenario and idea. It shows how pragmatic you are, and it shows your ability to look forward at all your best possible ideas. You're very I'm trying to find the right word for it. It's higher than logic. You're really thinking ahead and multitasking in a very futuristic, big brain type of way. I'm trying to give you a compliment here. It's a good thing. So it helps you understand yourself more as an individual, the way you're receiving the answers, which is really cool. There's also a third thing going on over here, but we'll talk about that in a second. So the first event that's going to happen is, and this is the main thing, over the next 72 hours, in the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, the way my spirit guide described it is you're going to be given an opportunity from somebody, and they are going to say, can you do this thing for me? And it will soak up a lot of your time and energy. They even referred to it taking a couple months. So it's like a big thing somebody's asking of you. There's two possible options for it. It does sound like initially either way, there's sort of a somewhat resistance from you. You're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. It doesn't feel like it's a bad option or something that's really going to bring you down. It's what I would compare it to energy-wise is like, let's say you are a creative person and you are working on your own creative projects, and then somebody approaches you and they're going to pay you big chunk of money to work on a project they want. You're like, well, I'm gonna earn a bunch of money, but I don't know, it takes me away from the, creative projects I wanted to do for myself, and I'm not that excited about the thing that they're offering me. So it's it's not a bad option. It's just, yeah, you'd probably rather put your opportunity your creative energy somewhere else, you could say. However, we're going to talk about the two options. So first, this is the more idyllic option. This is you taking it. In the Knight of Pentacles, it shows both the timing. It will take a while, and this is where I was confirming with my spirit guide that it will take a couple months. Is that a general reading, or is there any other person? I'm just asking my spirit guide real quickly. Okay, so my spirit guide said that the general amount of time for most people after you accept the event over the next 72 hours, it will take a couple months. But they said in a very tiny percentage of some of you, because again, this is a general reading, it could be 2 weeks. But for everyone else, it's a couple months of doing this. But this is you having sort of a really positive attitude towards it. You're getting what you can out of it. You're seeing the greater good of what you're learning from the project. Maybe we're going back to that example and scenario we had. Maybe during the project, you learn a bunch of new techniques that you didn't know before, or you learn about business in a way you didn't know before. There's a sense of a growing experience and getting all you can out of it. And while it is a little bit, it takes a little while and it's maybe not where you initially wanted to put your focus, it has a really happy result. It shows both you being happy, the other person who gave you the opportunity being happy, and this is really cool, others being happy. Apparently has sort of like a domino effect. Well, I don't know if I would say domino effect here, but we'll just say that many people are going to be happy with the outcome. So you're going to be happy with how it turns out, and it's going to in turn make people who aren't even in the scenario happy. So we've got good vibes, you learning a lot from it, having a good head on your shoulders about the whole thing. It's maybe not initially where you wanted to start going, but you are happy with the end result. But then you have saying no. And I did check with my spirit guide I was like, what if they full on say no? My spirit guide said that even if you say, there's two sort of versions of no, and they're both not fully a no, if you want to put it that way. On one hand, there's you saying to the other individual, give me a second to think about it. And you're, thinking about it, mulling it over, never quite jumping on the opportunity, but you just keep thinking about it, coming back to it, and you did have some intention. And then there's a part of you that just full on says, no, I don't have the time, but your brain, as this is how my spirit guide put it, your brain is still making space for this experience and event. So that means that we have over here, here's a representation of the Eight of Swords. It's not being read in reverse, but in fact being read upright, but it's interacting with the Seven of Pentacles. Think of sort of like a round of effect of how they're affecting one another. When we have the Seven of Pentacles over here, my spirit guide said this is representing this idea of like, you keep coming back to it, you're thinking of different ideas, you're like, well, if I did do this project, it would be like this. Or no, if I did it like this, I would do it like that. And you just kind of keep coming back to it, keep brainstorming, keep mulling it over, thinking about it. But in turn, there is sort of a trapped effect. I don't want to use that term too extreme here. It's not going to trap you off. Don't think anything really extreme or negative or heavy vibes. It's more just like it's consuming your sort of focus point and energy to a certain degree, and you're sort of keep coming back to it mentally. So even though you don't fully engage with it, and there's a part of you that maybe even said full on no, there's a part of you that you're still holding on to it. Now, the benefit to this is you do come up with a lot of really good ideas and brainstorms. And my spirit guide said that in the long term, these ideas can benefit you, but they feel like the type of long-term ideas where like maybe a couple years go by and then you're like, oh yeah, during that time period when I was saying no, but really just kept coming back mentally thinking about how I could have done that project. I thought of this idea. I could use that to use. So it's not the type of scenario where, it's your own decision, but it appears that you will be happier and enjoy more just diving into the same thing you're avoiding and then being happy with the results and what you receive along the way, rather than something that will take a while before it benefits you. And when it does benefit you, it's not as grandiose as the results over here. And again, I really want to focus on the point that you're not trapped, as in it's preventing any other success or opportunity coming your way. Not at all. Even my spirit guide shaking their head like, nope, not at all. It's more just like sometimes we're unable to be aware of other things, and you just kind of keep returning back to those thought processes and ideas rather than really taking advantage of it or saying, no, you get what I'm saying here. Now, along all of these two opportunities, we are two options, the way it could turn out, we have the Moon card in reverse. Now, this is separate from the scenario being introduced over here in the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Over here, we have, the way my spirit guide described it, is an illusion being sort of opened up or revealed to you. The best way I can explain it is they were showing me with energy. Fun fact, if you're communicating with your own spirit guides and stuff like that, sometimes you'll be given sort of energy. It's more than like a feeling. It's like you can see the energy, but when you're breaking down the energy, while it might just look like a mass of moving, almost like, like a swallow of birds, like moving around, you can translate that into like an image and an idea and a language. It's very like, I'm trying to explain it into terms that I fully understood with what I'm seeing and trying to break it down now into a vocabulary. So the way it was explained to me is it almost feels like there's something pretty big, the way my spirit guide, right? I'm just double checking with them. Somewhat big, okay. But it's somewhat big. It's this thing that you need to understand more about. It's more, kind of like pulling off a curtain, pulling off a layer of knowing a truth. It doesn't feel, let me just check with them, it doesn't feel like a full lie. It's not like a lie they're describing it as. My spirit guide says it's almost like you're not aware of the full concept of something, like looking behind the scenes of how something really works. And that there's a possibility, as it's being revealed to you over these next 72 hours, you'll miss out on it because you're sort of mulling over the decision of, do I take this opportunity or do I not take this opportunity? So it's being revealed either way, but you might just not have your head up and notice it. Now, if you miss it, my spirit guide said that it's not like the biggest deal in the world. It's not like you're not going to like miss out on this big life event. But that if you did like pay attention to it and were aware of it, it would benefit you enormously. That in the long run, you will see, I'm trying to put it in a way that makes more sense. It's like by understanding this information over the next couple of months, you will basically have something sort of like no longer a mystery to you, no longer coming back to it with a distraction, really not letting it either bring you down or make you have that sense of like fear of missing out or things like that kind of idea. So having this will be greatly beneficial to you because you'll no longer kind of compare yourself to it or wonder what if or whatever, but it's totally separate from these things. Now, it will naturally happen and you will see it. Let me just see if I can get any more information about it. My spirit guide says it's just going to be too varied. Like in this general reading, some people will see it through social media, some people will receive it in person. But whatever it is, once you've gained that and you no longer am like, oh, what if that could have, well, what about that person, and kind of any sense of comparison or wondering what could have been, because you'll understand the full scope of the reality of it, that'll basically going forward in the future months, you'll be like, oh, cool. Now that I know that, not even on my mind, I get to focus my energy somewhere else. So it's just about being aware to kind of not let your brain fully over the next 72 hours as you get this big opportunity to just only consume and think about that. Make sure you have your head up, look around, be aware of these things, take note of everything. Don't let, like sometimes think about this or make the decision yes or no, and then put your attention otherwhere so that you can benefit from this information. So, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please give it a like, a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can see all of my videos. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I'm wishing you the best, and let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2, let's find out what your spirit guides want you to know over the next 72 hours by looking at the cards. We've got Queen of Swords in reverse, 6 of Wands in reverse, 5 of Cups in reverse, King of Pentacles upright, Page of Pentacles in reverse, and the Knight of Pentacles upright. Just give me a moment. I'm going to look at everything to get all the information. Oh, I love this. Oh my, this is so cute. My spirit guide is saying, oh, I'm getting a little teary-eyed. My spirit guide is sharing a really beautiful metaphor that's working itself out here naturally, and something you can take in and then benefit from by looking at some kind of not great times and see them in a more positive light. Now, I'm actually happy to say that there's no dark times here. This is only good positive information, things that will uplift you. That's what I want to say. So we got a couple different things going, but how they all come together and the overall metaphor we were just talking about is important to understand at the end. So first we start with the Knight of Pentacles. My spirit guide said that you're going to go on a bit of like a trip, if you will, and that it will just take a little bit while to get there. And it's kind of funny when we talk about a trip going on here, because when we say this, it doesn't always mean a full-on you're going to be driving for hours and hours to get to a place that is far away. In some cases, it's more like you're going somewhere, maybe it's like an hour away, and there's a traffic jam. I'm really happy to say my spirit guide said that there's nothing going to happen that's like a big obstacle that will slow you down and for it to take a while, because the main thing we want to focus on here is that it will take a while, whether that be a trip where you're going a little bit farther away or you're going somewhere and there's some sort of a traffic jam. But there's nothing negative like a flat tire, nothing like that. You're not going to have to deal with anything that's annoying like that. But that little, tiny bit of information seems sort of I guess, if you will, irrelevant. That's what I was talking about when I was looking at all of this information. This seemed almost out of place for you to know. But how it all ties in is really beautiful. We're going to be coming back to that. So there'll be a point where you're unexpectedly taking a little longer to get somewhere, but not a big deal or anything like that. But here is where we've got a bit of a connective, positive thing going on over here. So in the Page of Pentacles in reverse, I can see a lot of lethargy. Over the next 72 hours, not a lot of motivation to do anything. You're not really in that mindset where you're working towards anything towards your future. And I want to be clear, you don't always have to be in that mindset. In fact, the presence is more preferred. You should really be in the presence more. You'll be a lot you'll enjoy it a lot more. But a lot of individuals are like, I'm going to do this thing, and that thing will add up to something else. Or they'll be like, I'm working on this. And again, same concept. Maybe they're going to go for a walk, and their hope is over time they'll walk enough, they'll get stronger and fitter and whatever. You get that kind of idea. And you're just not there. You just can't find the motivation at all. But okay, going back to this, I can hear some of my neighbors having a very loud, laughy conversation. So going back onto this. So over here with the 5 of Cups in reverse, we can see there's a subcontext going on here. Again, we always talk about this when we talk about my tarot training course, is that it talks about overcoming not a great emotional state. Grief, bad feelings, heaviness, but it talks about overcoming it. And just the fact that it mentions that implies that you've been going through something, and it's something that is going to be elated over these 72 hours, which I'm really happy about. Now, all of this, interestingly enough, comes in play with your opportunity popping up with the King of Pentacles. So somebody's going to offer you an opportunity to make more money. And now here's where it gets even more interesting. So it's coming up at a time period where you could not be less interested. Nonetheless, this individual will also come across as someone who, the best way I can explain it is they appear from initial sort of meeting that they're somebody who's, yes, giving you an opportunity, but almost sort of relishes in being someone who can give an opportunity to someone else. And it might even come across in a negative way, like they enjoy being able to have control over other people, that type of thing. And then your first experience might be like, I don't know if I want to work for this person. Not because they come off cruelly or anything like that, but you're not in that mind frame, especially to be under somebody who is, from perception from first meeting, appears to be someone who enjoys being able to tell other people what to do and that type of thing. But my spirit guide said, actually, they're a great employer, and they are someone you should work for. You're going to be happy with the experience. This is not the initial, there's a perception, but that's not actually how they are. And in fact, actually, they have seen your grief, picked up on it, and wanted to give you an opportunity to cheer you up. And the beautiful thing is, it does cheer you up. It does elate you. Probably for the reasons of making more money. Maybe you like the opportunity. Maybe you want to get motivated, but you just have not been able to feel motivated, because that's how it can feel when we're in low times. Our brain tells us there's just no reason to go out and do anything. There's no excitement or passion to do that. And this is sort of a little like light or ignition, if you will, which is really beautiful, which who doesn't love money and motivation? Anyway, so that opportunity, even though there's an initial feeling of wanting to push them away, you will actually be happy working with them, and you will it will pull you out of these mindsets, which is really beautiful. But last but not least, and this is where it's going to start to melt all together, all the metaphor and the concepts and all that jazz. So this is the Queen of Swords being linked with the 6 of Wands in reverse, unfortunately is going to, over those 72 hours, have experienced some form of failure, some form of something didn't work out for them. Maybe they lost like a job opportunity themselves, or somebody rejected them, or something where they were hoping to receive this sort of recognition or attention. It didn't work out, and they're looking to take it out on somebody. And keeping that in mind, we're talking about verbally, putting someone down. And it's especially worrisome when we have a Queen of Swords in reverse scenario. This is someone who's incredibly good at pointing out, because they're so smart and they are so able to see the truth, if you will, they can use it in a negative way against others. So they're upset about something happening to them and they want to take it out on somebody. Well, here's the best thing. Due to you taking this opportunity and you being out of the house because you're lost in a traffic jam, basically you do not take on this sort of troublesome situation. You're not there to be the brunt of their blow, if you will. And this is where it all comes together. So if you notice, if this aligns with specifically this part of being out of the house. Oh wait, hold on, my spirit guide's talking. Oh, my spirit guide said it will. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was going to be here when you were receiving the opportunity or when you're out of the house. When you're out of the house. Thank you for clarifying. So at times there's a sense of slowing down and wondering why it's happening. Oh, this is such a pain. And realizing it was actually for a greater good to keep you out of the house, out of here. And this is where it gets really adorable. Over here, there's more of a quickness to the opportunity. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, it falls into your lap, this opportunity to make more money, big change in schedule, and even mood elevator. And then at times, there's a slowness to slowing down the traffic jam, slowing down when you're in a certain low emotional state and you just don't feel like you can kind of be in the world in the flow that everyone else seems to be. That's the perception. Keep in mind that's not the truth. That's just the perception when you're experiencing it. And my spirit guide said, it doesn't matter if you're slowing down or speeding up. Everything happens beautifully and succinctly. And even if you feel low, even if you feel like you're slowing down during those time periods in your life, that it is all working out beautifully just as it needs to, that you're still moving forward, that you're still productive, that you're still somebody who is going to achieve what they want, even when you are going through time periods where you feel like you're not working towards that because you need to slow down. Everything will work out just when it needs to. You were taking your time, pulling back, needing to go through your grief, and you still attracted this positivity in your life. Just like how when you slow down and it seemed like a waste of time, why am I stuck in this traffic jam over those 72 hours? You end up missing out positively on something you didn't need to take on stress-wise. So as you go forward in life and you have those moments where you say, I just cannot find the motivation, I cannot find the excitement, I cannot find the happiness, what does this mean? It doesn't mean you're missing out, but that you're perfectly on schedule with what you need to experience when you need to experience. You're never holding back. You're always moving forward, and you're always going to be the best version of yourself as you keep living your truth. So if you don't feel great, you don't feel great, and that's okay, and that's what you're connecting to. But that doesn't mean it's forever, and that doesn't mean it's negative that you're experiencing that, and that doesn't mean you're being held back, but you're in fact in a different type of like cosmic flow. Because that's the thing with whenever I talk to my spirit guides, when it talks to me about being in the flow, I love when my spirit guides said, they said, you don't have to be happy to be in the flow. People are unaware of how much they are in it, even when it feels like nothing's happening. It's all adding up. It all means something. And this is sort of your moment to, over these 72 hours, to realize you're getting a real in life metaphor being acted out to also explain the greater concept of what you've been going through. So I love that. That's beautiful. Avoiding conflict, getting opportunities, feeling a little more like yourself. Just, I do recommend during the slower trip, going to the bathroom. Make sure you go before. Make sure you take that opportunity to download a couple podcasts and just kind of relax and listen to a book on, tape or something like that kind of thing. Have a good time. There's always an opportunity just to relax and make the best of it. And I hope you're excited about this. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one, and let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3, let's find out, what does your spirit guides want you to know over the next 72 hours by looking at the cards. Okay, we've got 4 of Wands in reverse, the Empress card upright, 7 of Cups in reverse, Queen of Cups in reverse, and the Ace of Swords in reverse. Okay, give me a moment to look at all the information. Oh my, that's so cute. Oh, okay. Okay. I love this. Okay, so first let's start talking about what this is so cute. So I was looking at the card, and my spirit guide wanted to start the reading with the Queen of Cups. And I've noticed that there has been more of an emphasis on in the previous so there's 3 readings now, I'm on the 3rd one, on queens and kings, and often starts with that. And I was curious about that, and I was like, oh, it seems like we're really focusing on that. And my spirit guide said, yes, exactly. And I said, what do you mean by that? And they said, because we, as in spirit guides, let me just double check if that includes high vibrational beings. Most high vibrational beings, we'll just mostly focus on spirit guides, view us as queens and kings, which I think is really cute. And they went on to say that we are much more masters of our own fate than we realize. That we are, we're more aware and in control and empowered of our own life and where we want it to go than we fully, are aware of at all times. And that especially includes if we're in a different headspace or not feeling our best emotionally and maybe feeling lost or confused or not good enough or whatever. They're still looking at us, even in that state of being like, you're doing great. You've got this. At any second you can turn this around. You're really in control. You've got this. You haven't lost any ability to go forward and know what to do next, even if it feels like you don't in that second. It's just a matter of waking up, looking around, and making decisions and stuff like that. I'm paraphrasing the rest, but this is basically what they were talking about, masters for your own fate. So I think that's beautiful. Now, keeping all of that in mind, I want you to keep a good head on your shoulders as we go over this reading, because some of it is maybe not the most exciting to hear about, but it has a lot of positive spins and things you should kind of focus on. So, with the Queen of Cups being in reverse, there is a bit of, to put it lightly, emotional imbalance over the next 3 days. Feeling emotionally kind of all over the place. I'm really picking up energy-wise that it feels like one thing upsets you and then your mind quickly darts somewhere else and focuses on that to be upset about. And it's kind of like feeling like one moment you're giving yourself grief because you feel like you're not good enough, and the next second giving yourself grief because you should be focusing on something else, and then giving yourself grief at the next moment because of someone said and wondering how it went. Just kind of like bouncing all over the place and feeling like you're in a whirlwind because of it. Now, the good thing is it is an ace when we talk about this. My spirit guide pointed that out, as in this is just like a temporary sort of emotional and mental state. But that's the important thing to notice here when we have the influence of both the ace with the swords interacting with the cups. So the emotions that are sort of jumbling around are causing your thought pattern to be very discombobulated in the way I just described. It is temporary, but we can understand that how our emotions can affect the way we think. So if our emotions feel like they're divided and they're not quite fully processed and understood, and we're just quickly bouncing to the next emotional state, that is how our thought patterns reflect that, essentially. And so we can sort of be aware of how the two are related. So it definitely is like not a lot of great clarity initially during this time period, because you're just kind of quickly feeling and thinking something, not quite processing the emotion thought, being then quickly drawn somewhere else and just kind of all over the place. Now, there is a bit of reasoning and solution to that, which I'm really happy to say. So first, I want to talk about the Empress card. My spirit guide said that something that would really benefit you over this, emotional imbalance, to sort of like pull you back and give you some sense of grounding, is to connect to something living. They said, house plant, or you could go outside and connect to a tree. I asked if you could connect to something like a crystal, and they said you could, but it would be better if you connected to something where you could realistically see the growth happening in front of your eyes in this lifetime, so to speak, because you kind of need comfort right now. So when that's happening and keep in mind, it's less that something's like, well, let me just double check with spirit guide. Yeah, it's not like a specific event. It's more of like, we'll get into specifics in a second of where it's coming from and where it's going. We'll get into that one second. But anyways, it would be better if you could see over a couple days, oh, I see the leaves are growing and becoming green on the trees. Oh, look, I can see the little plant. I can see it moving and tilting in the sun, that type of thing. Now, my spirit guide said that it would be a really good idea to connect with them. And when you're connecting with this living, growing thing, whatever you feel, oh, wait, can pets count? Pets do count. Let me just double check. Yes, pets do count. Okay, cool. So when you were connecting to them, you'd be connecting with them with anything. Meditation, contemplating the idea of growing. My spirit guide suggested you could read a book about them and, understand some more like fun facts. Maybe you watch some videos, but again, next to them, with them. Wait, hold on, let me just double check the videos. Videos are fine, but mostly make sure you're like present and connecting to it. But when you're in that connecting mindset, this is when like ideas are going to kind of sort of like float to the top of your head. Wow, look at the changing of the leaves. They just grow and then go away and then come back, and it just never seems to end. They always seem to succeed, and you sort of find yourself finding inspiration and comparing that to your personal life and being like, yeah, even when they start to go away and fall, like that doesn't mean part of them is like going away forever. It's just a part of them that is ebbing and flowing with change, and like that would be just like one sort of meditative thought. But it's like you're gaining that type of inspiration by being connected to that growing thing, and you'll find your own thought process. It doesn't have to directly connect to the plants, but it's sort of stimulating that mindset and giving you that grounding you need to gain that stability from that discombobulated type of thought process. Now, where does this come from? We can actually talk about that with the Four of Wands in reverse, because before I even went here, I was talking about this with my spirit guide. I was like, wow, we talk about subtext in the tarot training course. I was like, when we talk about plants and talk about them putting themselves somewhere like in nature, most likely, things that are growing and living, or being in an environment with something like a cute pet or something like that, there appears to be an environmental change. Is there something going on at home? And then I looked over and my spirit guide confirmed in the Four of Wands, I see like the living environment isn't like the funnest right now. Now, it doesn't feel like there is a particular event that happens. Like there isn't this like out of nowhere or something, happens. It's more just like it's happened in the past. You're aware of it. It's maybe a little tense or something for whatever reason. And when that you feel that tension and everything going on, it would be a good idea to have sort of an environmental change, and have that environmental change include connecting to something living. So maybe you go pet sit someone else's friend's pets or something like that, or you go hang out with a tree for a couple hours, have a little picnic or something like that. Now, keeping all of that in mind, we want to focus on the last card as well. So with the Seven of Cups in reverse, my spirit guide said that you are going to shuffle through all of these thoughts and emotions, and you are going to be able to be like, oh, that's it. That's the answer. That's the pinpointed emotion that is connecting and affecting. When we talk about, very similar to the likeness of a plant, of like all these roots, many different roots connecting to one plant. It's almost like you're viewing the idea in reverse. You're understanding the stem that relates to all the spread out different options of the roots or branches of the plant, or aka all the discombobulated thoughts and emotional processing. It's like you figure out what it is, and you're like, oh, that's it. And you have this inspiration of what the answer is going forward, of being like, oh, this is how I'll feel a little more even, a little more directed and central focused. This makes me feel better, and this is what's calming down everything else. And my spirit guide said that once you figure out what that singular thing is, stick to it. So if you feel like your emotions start to again pull at you, pull your thought process to want to cater, I call it feeding, when you give attention to other ideas that are being stimulated in your brain. Don't feed or give attention to those ideas again. Once you're like, no, this is the answer, you're going to feel really good, but you might feel really good for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then suddenly the other thoughts start processing in your head again. don't pay attention to them. Make sure you keep saying to yourself, this was the decision I made. This is where I'm going to focus my attention. That's where I'm staying. And that will help you go through this very temporary kind of feeling and emotion and everything like that. And the cool thing is you can gain a lot of inspiration when we talk about connecting to this, and a nice little break from the thing that's sort of stimulating this emotional and mental mindset. So cool. Love that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, you're a queen or a king, or what would be the third option? A person that happens to rule. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for our final group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out, what do your spirit guides want you to know over the next 72 hours by looking at the cards? We've got Page of okay, I can hear my spirit guide talking. Give me one moment. I'm just going to hear what they have to say, and then I will go over the rest of this. Ooh, I love this. This feels like a very inspired 72 hours. I love this. Okay, so we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse, 3 of Wands in reverse, 8 of Cups in reverse, 4 of Pentacles upright, Ace of Wands upright, and 9 of Pentacles upright. So the first card we're looking at is the 4 of Pentacles. The 4 of Pentacles is describing you having more of an introverted, sort of keeping to yourself time period, which is going to really make sense with everything else. It's funny, there's like keeping to yourself, but it doesn't feel completely isolated. There's going to be some socialization, but maybe not in the way you would normally think. Like, you're not going to be going out, hanging out, vibing, long phone calls. It's not that type of scenario and vibe for you. There's going to be a predominant amount of your time where you're kind of putting that energy back more into yourself and your world rather than kind of sharing it with others. But keeping that in mind, my spirit guide said that this is great because there are going to be time periods in your life when you've got so many opportunities and you're so successful and you're so busy that these are time periods when we rejuvenate. So you're definitely going to be pulling more inwards during this time period. It's interesting. There's the pulling inwards is the predominant energy I'm feeling, but there is still a slight sense of like you're putting out some perspective and ideas that you have out into the world, but from that internal place. So the focus and mindset is still there, even when there is a slight bit of socialization. It's like that's the main focal point of the 72 hours. Now going from there, this is where, because I was like looking into it and I wanted to ask some deeper questions about all of it, but I got all the answers. So with the 8 of Cups in reverse, this is not being read traditionally, but being read for its imagery. So as you can see over here, we have the World card. This would represent the entire existence of Earth as a society, and then how it influences and affects your personal reality. Whatever you do day to day is going to be different from somebody else's. So whatever you're experiencing, whatever information you're choosing to receive or seek out, that is therefore your personal world. So in reverse, you're being urged to share your ideas. Now, my spirit guide said that you especially want to do this with friends and close friends and family and loved ones. But basically, and I double checked because I was like, I thought you said there wasn't going to be much socialization. They said that you would be doing this more predominantly over like text messages, or, you know, when you feel inspired, you're coming from this mindset, or maybe it's like a late night in the kitchen and you just run into one of your family members and then, you know, you share an idea. But when you are doing that slight bit of a socialization over the 72 hours, you're really being, what's the word, like it's like, you should go do this. If you sharing what you've built in your personal reality out into the world. So this is like you tweeting like, hey, this is my perspective on things. This is what I've learned and what I've gained. And you'd be surprised what seems normal to you can be totally mind-blowing and really change people's perspective. That's actually, like, not to go on like a side thing here, but like that's a huge reason why I'm very pro you guys sharing your like personal experiences and stuff like that over here in our comment section and on Patreon, because like, you never know what might just be like a simple idea to you really changes someone else's life because they never thought of thinking things that way. So this is from your personal perspective, what you've built up in your personal world, and you going out into the world and sharing it. Again, it is still very like little tiny small moments of the day. You just have a bit quick back and forth text message. You maybe run into someone for a quick second, talk to them for a quick second, and then you basically pull back inwards. Now, going forward, this is what I'm saying where it's so interesting that I just have to point this out because there's still this focus on, it kind of makes you realize how you can still be incredibly social or inspired and in this kind of way, even if you're more isolated. Not that I'm personally someone who spends a lot of time alone. I like to be alone for this exact reason, but it's showing up a lot in this reading. So there is somebody new popping up in your life. Let me just double check. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of interaction this initial time. Okay, just double check my spirit guide. They said no, not a lot of, like, no interaction. Basically, you're going to see them and you're going to interact with them more going forward in the future. But I was really curious when the Ace of Wands popped up, if this was like a romantic interest and basically you thought they were very attractive. And my spirit guide said that they are very alluring to you. So it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be romantic. In fact, I'm feeling more of a vibe. Let me just check percentage-wise. Okay, yeah, my spirit guide's confirming this. More of it's alluring for what I'm about to go through example-wise in the Nine of Pentacles than it being alluring purely and also because you find them attractive in some way. But the alluringness that you find in them is like they are living some sort of life where it feels like they've got everything you possibly could want. In a lot of cases with this Nine of Pentacles, my spirit said this person will be predominantly wealthy. However, it's not the money so much you're attracted to. It's more like maybe they are someone who's doing exactly what they want whenever they want at all given times of the day. And you're like, wow, like this sounds really corny, but have you ever seen somebody's their setup and they just, everything's like matching colors and the perfect furniture, and you're like, wow, I want to do that. I should do that. I should decorate that way, or I should bring more of those type of detailed little nuances in my life as well. It's like that type of scenario going on. It's like you see they're working their dream job, you see they have their own hairstyle that you wish you could be like, maybe you're someone who overthinks like the dyeing their hair type of process type of thing. But whatever it is, you're very inspired by that and you feel drawn to them, and you will talk to them more in the future, but it's more sort of like you're meeting them. It can potentially be also romantic, but predominantly either way, it's alluring in that kind of manner. Now, in addition to that, this is where we've got the Page of Pentacles. Now, I'm going to do the best I can to describe this. My spirit guide said that, again, we look at the imagery here. Here it is, we have this road. Think of the road as like the concrete physical world. You know what I mean? Like, we'll just describe it as like, that's the physical world. Then we're going to look at the stars as sort of the imagery of the non-physical. So sorry about the interruption. Going back to what we were saying. So the stars are like the cosmic secrets of the universe, the things going on all around us, but we might not always be fully aware if we're not like tuned in or paying attention or thinking in that type of way. And then think of the pentacle as the thing right in front of your face, you know, your main sort of like, I'm gonna go eat cereal. This is the thing that I want. And the thing that is consuming most of your focus. Well, it appears with the Page of Pentacles representing some form of like token of investment in the future, you are going to be pulling more of your attention towards that ethereal, towards those cosmos, towards that secret of the universe type of vibes, and making sort of making contact or reaching out in that kind of way, making some form of token of investment in that way. So I understand what my spirit guide means, but this could mean so many array of things depending on who you are. Like an obvious one for me would be like going to the spirit realm, whether it be your first time or going there, which by the way, I talk about in my intuition training course. You can just go to the spirit realm that way, or you might have your own method, but you can go and you can just go there for the first time, and that can be some form of token of investment, like you start regularly going there. Or maybe you're familiar with going there and you and your spirit guide make some form of they give you some sort of knowledge or understanding that you're like, wow, now that I know this, I can start practicing this and it will benefit me in the long run with this type of connection. But that's just one way of connecting to the ethereal. It doesn't always have to mean ultimately just going to the spirit realm and that type of thing. It could be through like meditation or whatever. But the reason why I think about like connecting in that kind of way and being communicative and inspiring in that type of way is we have the Three of Wands in reverse. So it appears that what you put out when you are reaching out during this time period, you take this initiative to be like, I'm going to go try what it feels like to go seek out the spirit realm. I'm going to see what it's like to communicate with my spirit guides or whatever it is you want to do in that kind of way, or understand some form of secret of the universe kind of thing. Well, it appears that message gets received, as in like, let me just double check if that means contact back. Oh, yes, that means contact back in all cases, my spirit guide said. Whoa, that's pretty big. So with that being said, this is you realizing that there is another place you can put your attention in this kind of unique way. I'm just giving one example. You take that initiative, you put yourself out there in that kind of way, focusing on those type of things, and you receive an answer from somebody else and you get one back from them. So that's pretty darn cool. I love that for you. You can also do this with tarot. I would also include this in it, but I'm just using one method. I don't want to close your creativity off from, there's probably a bunch of examples that aren't even coming to like my head right now. So anyways, it's a very interesting week because again, it's predominantly you decompressing, but for all the decompressing, there's lots of like inspiration when we talk about this person you're being drawn to and what could be inspiring your brain of thinking, wow, I could just have a life where every single thing in my life is exactly what I want it to be, just like them, and realizing there is something outside of yourself and ideas that you maybe not even come into your realm of thought before. And all the while you are, every now and then sharing this out with others. So I hope you're excited about this. I hope for you it's a very creative weekend, if you will. Please give this video a like, a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.